Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we're going to be talking about 5 things that I wish women knew about men. From the perspective here of a woman who makes content for men and has heard these things time and time again from my 95% male audience. I also think there are a lot of women who know this, but maybe they don't implement it into their lives or take it to heart, and maybe we should work on changing that. And I know my audience is mostly men, so it feels like I'm preaching to the choir here, but I have been getting a lot more female subscribers lately and just women commenting on my videos. I also think for men, it can be helpful to just hear that someone understands you. I think it can just be reassuring to feel heard and seen and valued. So the first thing I wish women knew is that men have feelings too. Men have emotions, men have feelings, however you want to say it or word it, it's all essentially the same. I really want men and women to understand that men have emotions the same way that women do. I think women are often deemed as the emotional ones and men are the rational ones, but you have to have a balance of both. That's just called being human. It's not a bad thing either, and for all the men who are watching, I want you to understand that as well. Emotion is not a weakness, and if women want men who are emotionally mature, they should encourage vulnerability and have open conversations about this. Men aren't emotionless robots. I actually talked about this in a recent reaction video I did where some femininity, masculinity person was saying that men don't have feelings and aren't emotional, which is a bunch of BS. To summarize my little synopsis there, I think people hear the word emotional and automatically assume it to be a negative thing. I think we incorrectly see emotion as the opposite of rational, but I think striking a balance between emotional intelligence and rationality is where the true magic is. I think both are important for decision making and understanding ourselves and other people around us. Recognizing and understanding our emotions while also employing some critical thinking skills, which we could all use a little bit of, can lead to more well-rounded and informed choices and people. And my point here is that sometimes women forget that men have feelings too. I think they forget that men have insecurities, and a lot of them are really struggling. And I'll be completely honest, this is something I didn't understand the full extent of until I started this channel. You know, I started posting fashion videos and more lighthearted content, but when I was posting that content, it was impossible to ignore the other problems that men were facing too. But that is really why I started diving into these deeper topics, because I think people don't fully understand. And while again, I don't necessarily think it's a woman's job to fix this, but geez Louise, we could give a little bit of grace and be a little more kind. Have some freaking empathy. I think empathy could really go a long way in just making people, and men specifically here, feel seen, feel valued, feel heard, feel like they're an actual human being and not an ATM or a robot. To be totally honest, as a woman, I think women can be really hurtful sometimes with how they talk about men and men's issues. And again, to wrap up this point here, I know I'm kind of rambling. I think we should just be a little more kind, be empathetic, and not be so cruel. I don't think it's that hard. And before we get into the next point here, big thank you to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. Their team of gourmet chefs creates each meal using only ingredients with integrity to help you feel your best all day long. This October, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door. Ready in just 2 minutes, no prep, no mess. All you do is heat, eat, and enjoy. Relish the best of autumn with fall flavors, limited time only hearty, comforting meals featuring seasonal veggies like cranberry pecan chicken and apple Dijon pork chops. They'll satisfy your fall cravings during the busy season. Prioritizing my health and wellness is a top priority for me. Factor saves me so much time and is my go-to lunch when I just don't want to cook during the day. They have so many nutritious options for keeping my fridge well stocked and offer options that make it easy to stick to my wellness goals. I'm obsessed. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code Courtney50 to get 50% off of your first Factor box. The next thing I wish women knew about men is that men aren't mind readers. We need to stop expecting men to read our minds. It's not healthy or productive. I think if you want something, you should ask for it. If you need something, you should ask for it. And if you think to yourself when I say that, well, I shouldn't have to ask, I think that is part of the problem here. The subtle hints don't always land, and it's better to just resort to direct communication. And honestly, expecting someone to be a mind reader is also just a red flag. It's completely immature, in my opinion. You know, if she says, I shouldn't have to tell you, you should just know that, or I shouldn't have to tell you I want flowers, you should just buy them for me. I know the flowers is a stupid example, but it's one I see all the time. Asking for flowers and telling your partner what you want doesn't make it any less special. If anything, it's more special because you communicated effectively to them and they listened to you. And I will be so honest about this. This is something that I have gotten so much better at as I've had this channel and as I've learned more about men. You know, if I tell my husband that I'm fine, it is up to me as a mature adult to actually be fine if I say that I'm fine. It is not his job to read my mind and to see that I'm not fine when I say that I am. You know, as a grown adult, it is up to me to communicate my wants, my needs, my desires, and I cannot then get mad if I don't communicate that to my husband and he doesn't do what I want him to do. And even then, I think sometimes you can communicate your wants and needs, and sometimes it's unrealistic, and we need to be able to realize that as well. So yes, point number 2, men are not mind readers, and we need to be realistic about this. The next thing is that men like compliments too. Sounds obvious and pretty simple, right? Well, that's because it is. Men like to feel wanted and appreciated too, and I think men respond really well to appreciation and praise. You know, as important as it is to give your partner constructive criticism or to challenge them a little bit, I think it's also really important to give positive reinforcement and affirmations and compliments as well. And I think this is something that is not happening enough, and I think it causes a lot of issues in relationships. Compliments can show someone that you believe in them, or you trust them, that you desire them, that you find them attractive, that you acknowledge their efforts and hard work, that you respect him. I mean, I could go on and on. I never ever hold back a compliment from my husband. If he does something that I like, I tell him. If his outfit looks great, I tell him, and his face lights up every single time, even when he's trying to hide it, even when he's trying to act like that didn't just make his day. I know that it does. I can tell by the way he responds to it. Men want to feel loved and appreciated and respected, and that you desire them as well. And I think women often forget this because we're too busy asking, do you still like me? Do I look good? Do I look fat in this outfit? I mean, we do this so much that I think we forget that men desire that too. But I think a lot of women will resort to, you know, the constant criticism or the nagging. I think women would actually get a better response from the man in their life a lot of the time. Of course, there's nuance. I'm not trying to make a generalization for every single situation of all time here. But by giving positive reinforcement and affirmations, I think you can get so much further than the nagging or the constant criticism would. So just something to think about. Men, you can let me know down in the comments if you agree. Women, let me know if you agree, what your experience has been. But personally, I think it's much more effective. The next thing that I wish women knew about men is that playing hard to get is a turnoff. Playing hard to get only works on emotionally unavailable men. It doesn't work for the good ones. So if you want a good one, don't play hard to get. For the good guys, it's a huge turnoff. I think it can be a bit of a double-edged sword because although it can create an air of mystery or intrigue that can make someone more interested in you in the beginning, it can also be incredibly off-putting and make someone lose interest in you altogether. And again, typically attracts the wrong type of people. If you're not making any effort to show your interest, the other person might assume that you're not interested in them. Obviously, this can lead to a ton of misunderstandings and missed opportunities for people who do this. In my opinion, I just think it's insecure, immature, and simply not something that a mature adult who is interested in you should be doing. But I think a lot of people online are just, they're lost in the sauce. They are approaching dating from a very manipulative, get him attracted to you, get him obsessed with you, manipulation tactic type of dating. And in our society where hookup culture is kind of dominating what's going on, you know, I understand why that is happening, but I think it's horrific advice. I think any sort of manipulation tactics, playing games, should be avoided at all costs, and I can't get on board with anyone who is promoting that. I have reacted to so many content creators on this channel who have promoted toxic, manipulative behavior, and I think it's awful. And I don't think you should be listening to that type of content from men, from women, from anybody. But I think a lot of women have been clinging to this advice because of the way that dating is today. And I think it's moving things in an unhealthy, negative direction. And I want to put a stop to that here. I talk all the time on my channel about why we shouldn't play games, why we shouldn't be manipulative. I've covered this extensively, so nothing new here. But I think what a lot of women don't realize is that this attracts F-boys. This attracts men who are going to lead you down a path of disappointment, heartbreak, and thinking that all men are trash because you're going after men. who treat you poorly. I think a lot of women don't understand that the games work for a certain type of man, and it's probably not the type of man that you're going to be with going to want to be with long term or marry. Hate to see it. My next thing here that I wish more women knew is that they're looking for more than just sex. Men are longing for connections that go further than just physical intimacy. Of course, physical intimacy is important in a relationship, but my point here is that there are men out there who are looking for more than just a hookup. They're looking for committed, healthy relationships too. There are so many great guys out there, and you'll never know that if you keep going after the F-boys and the guys who treat you like crap. We gotta quit doing that. And of course, there are men out there who are just looking for sex and just looking for a hookup. But if you're not a girl who's looking for that, stop going after a guy like that. It's simple, really. But alright guys, that is all I have for 5 things I wish women knew about men. If you liked this video or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. Let me know what you think down in the comments. What are some other things as a man that you wish women knew about men? If you're a woman watching, what are some things you wish men knew about women? That is my next order of business in terms of video ideas. I'm going to put out a video about what women wish men knew about women next. So let me know down in the comments. We'd love to hear from all of you guys down below. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.